Karens may think they can get away with anything, but some of them end up paying the ultimate price. In this video, we will take a closer look at some Karens who were charged and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, we have got a real case of foot and mouth syndrome. Meet Nancy Cantor, the former president of Syracuse University, who went viral on YouTube for all the wrong reasons. Why, you ask? Well, let's just say that her behavior during a minor car accident was less than presidential. When her car and driver struck another vehicle, Cantor's first thought wasn't about the other driver's safety. Oh no, it was all about catching her flight. "If I miss my airplane, you folks are in trouble," she exclaimed, before demanding to be let through to the airport. And if it wasn't bad enough, she even pulled the old "do you know who I am" card. But it wasn't long before Cantor realized the error of her ways and issued a heartfelt apology. "I realized clearly that I was not my best self that morning," she wrote. "I have great respect for the RUPD and am grateful for the work that our officers do every day." Cantor discovered the hard way that behavior can come back to bite you in a big way. Watch out, folks. Karen is at it again. This time, getting freaked out by a delivery guy just trying to do his job. With her tough girl act and paranoid accusations, she's definitely giving off some major negative vibes. In a viral video, Karen is seen accusing a black UPS delivery guy of loitering and vandalism in the neighborhood, simply because she doesn't feel safe with him around. And her racism doesn't stop there, as she makes derogatory comments about his English skills and even throws in a la migra for good measure. Sorry, Karen, but your actions are definitely not okay. Karen is at it again. In a shocking and heartbreaking case, 25-year-old Amanda Casale awaits her fate in a Michigan courtroom after being charged with driving under the influence and taking the life of another driver. Casale appears visibly devastated, but when laughter and smiles are heard coming from her family in the audience, the judge takes swift action. No one is above the law, not even family members of the defendant. As Casale's mother is taken into custody for criminal contempt, it serves as a stark reminder that disrespectful behavior will not be tolerated in a court of law. Will justice be served for the victim and their family, or will Casale have a chance of parole? Karen is at it again. Isaiah Gardner's reckless behavior knew no bounds as he took lives without remorse and challenged the authority of the court. He was responsible for several heinous crimes, including the murder of his girlfriend and daughter, as well as another couple whom he held hostage. During his court hearing, he showed disrespect towards the judge and his late girlfriend. The judge warned him that if he spoke out of turn again, his microphone would be muted. Mr. Barbary requested that Mr. Gardner be held without bond, or if not, that bond be set at $2 million in cashiering. The judge ultimately set bond at $3 million cash or surety, and warned Mr. Gardner to behave appropriately during court proceedings, as the judge was considering whether or not to allow his release on bond. Mr. Gardner responded by flipping off the judge with both hands. He was subsequently charged with all 4 murders and sentenced to 50 to 125 years in prison. Later, he was charged with another murder, which resulted in an even higher sentence of 75 to 125 years in prison. Karen is at it again. Vallejo Rebecca made quite the scene outside multiple bars, screaming, shouting, and pacing up and down the street. Her night took a turn for the worse when she became entangled in a street brawl between 2 men, resulting in her detainment. But let's just say she didn't handle it very well. As the police officers attempted to arrest her, Rebecca let loose with a barrage of insults and complaints. She was not a happy camper, to say the least. The situation escalated as she kicked the ceiling and tried to slip out of the handcuffs. Despite her protests, Rebecca was taken to jail. But even behind bars, she couldn't keep quiet, kicking up a fuss and causing a commotion. The police officers had their hands full, but they managed to keep the situation under control. In the end, Rebecca's behavior proved to be her downfall. Karen is at it again. Now we have Sherry Lynn, who is causing quite a stir in the courtroom. Charged with felony battery and resisting arrest with violence, Lynn is clearly not in the mood for any legal proceedings. But the judge isn't having any of it, and issues a stern warning to stay away from Cynthia Cuba and her place of business. And if you thought things couldn't get any crazier, just wait until you hear about the pliers incident. But in a surprising turn of events, Lynn is sentenced to just a $50 fine and a psychiatric evaluation. Will she finally get the help she needs? Karen is at it again. Karen spits at a random person in the bleachers. You won't believe your eyes, folks. This entitled Karen approaches a group of guys, claiming she's been sitting there since last night with her friends. But when one of the guys points out that she's in the wrong section, she loses it and spits in his face. And get this, she doesn't even get arrested for her disgusting behavior. It's enough to make your blood boil. Let's take a look at this outrageous video and see this Karen in action. Karen is at it again. Another day, another Karen was caught on camera spewing hate. This time, it's Christine Longo, who thought it was perfectly fine to launch a racially charged tirade at a black family in a Rhode Island restaurant. Longo's disorderly conduct led to her arrest, but despite the racially charged nature of her rant, hate crime charges could not be pursued. As reported by Katie Davis from the Washington County District Court, Longo accosted the family, coming within inches of their faces and hurling racist insults, including telling them to go back to where they came from and calling them exploiters of black people. While she wasn't charged with a hate crime, many are protesting that she should have been. James Carullo found her guilty of disorderly conduct, a petty misdemeanor, and she received a sentence of 6 months probation, 50 hours of community service, anger management, and diversity counseling. However, some feel that this sentence should have been harsher. Karen is at it again. Meet an 11-year-old boy who seems to have missed the memo on how to behave like a normal 11-year-old. Just last week, he was caught trying to bring weapons to school. But luckily, school leaders intervened before any harm could be done. Now, this little troublemaker is in Albertson's court, and things are looking serious. Prosecutors have revealed that this isn't the first time he's tried to bring a gun to school. In fact, he had done it twice before without anyone noticing. And what's even scarier is that they believe he was planning to shoot not just one student, but several after school that day. It's clear that this kid is a major risk to himself and others. An evaluation has shown that he's struggling with mental health issues, including suicidal thoughts and outbursts, which seem to be getting worse over time. Some might say it's due to bad parenting, but who knows? What we do know is that this kid needs some serious help before it's too late. Karen is at it again. In the next clip, we have a woman who gained notoriety as the most wanted Karen in America. She first made headlines after a video of her went viral, showing her hurling racial slurs at a young girl on the stairs. In the video, she threatened the girl, telling her that her family would kick her out and that she would go back to her Asian country. After the video went viral, other victims came forward and a warrant was issued for her arrest. Despite efforts by the police to track her down, she remained elusive for several weeks. Eventually, the woman, identified as 56-year-old Lena Hernandez, was caught and charged with 3 counts of misdemeanor battery. She was later sentenced to 30 days in jail. It's worth noting that her behavior was widely condemned, and many people were outraged by her hateful and racist comments. Karen is at it again. We have a woman who was responsible for the death of 3 people while driving under the influence. This is what the judge said to her after she made a comment similar to a Karen's. This is a very serious case. Yes, ma'am, your life is ruined, but you also ruined a lot of lives and ended 3 lives. One of the victim's fathers took to the stand to share a few words with the defendant. You've taken everything from us. You can't give it back, and nor will you ever give it back. I can't forgive you. There's no forgiveness for this. I can't do this anymore. I need it to end. Thank you. However, there was another car involved in the crash, that of Tracy Kelly. She said to the defendant, I wake up several times at night from pain, but also from nightmares. My nightmares include being left at the scene, abandoned at the scene, screaming for help when you weren't there, and knowing that she has now lost her life and that she will spend her days in pain. Just her not being happy every day brings joy to me. The woman ended up receiving 50 years in prison. Karen is at it again. In Wichita, Kansas, Michael Gates has been sentenced to 200 years in prison, provided he lives that long. Gates was convicted of battery against a law enforcement officer. However, Gates does not appear to believe he did anything wrong and behaves like a Karen towards the judge. I didn't hawk up no saliva, and you're gonna bleed those lies. That's what I'm talking about, he says. The judge does not tolerate this behavior and attempts to bring order to the proceedings. You don't have to scream at me. "You're not going to raise your voice to me," the judge says. But Gates is not deterred. He has some choice words for Assistant DA O'Connor. "You raise your voice to me, I raise my voice to you. You just insulted me. I don't think I have to take insults from a maggot like you." After this incident, the judge extended Gates's sentence from 10 to 13 years. And with that, we move on to my home country of Australia. Anthony Rodriguez, the wrong place, wrong time serial offender, who got what he deserved. In 2013, Anthony Rodriguez received a life sentence for his heinous crimes of robbery, kidnapping, and sexual assault at a popular park in Buffalo, New York. But that's not all. Rodriguez was already a serial offender, with a rap sheet that included previous arrests and probation. Forensic evidence at the crime scene sealed his fate. Throughout his trial, Rodriguez remained eerily calm and collected. But on the day of his sentencing, he couldn't keep his cool. He erupted into a profanity-laced tirade, calling the ruling unfair and even getting physical with court security. As he was led away, you could see the look in his eyes. The guy knew he was done. And that concludes our journey. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this in the future. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.